What's up, everybody? It's me, your boy Tantalizing Tony, one half of the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. And this is the Netflix Mr. McMahon docuseries review of episode 2 and 3, Heat and Screwjob. Let's go.
The Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. What you should be watching.
What's up, everybody? It's me, your boy. What's this thing on? What's up, everybody? It's me, your boy Tantalizing Tony, one half of the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. Kira is on vacation right now. She has worked the day. She doesn't feel really comfortable doing the McMahon series because of the allegations and the content is not something that she wants to really talk about. So I'm going to do this. We condensed episode 2 and 3 into one deal so that we can get through this quick. Hopefully everybody has seen the docuseries up until 3 because there will be heavy spoilers. Episode 2 is called Heat. Episode 3 is called Screwjob. And guys, in case you don't know, heat is a term in the wrestling industry that it's like if you got heat on you, that means it's hot. It means all eyes on you, and you might be in a little bit of hot water, and you got to do some things to get out of that trouble. But hopefully everybody's enjoying their weekend. Like I said, we're gonna condense this into two episodes into one and make it quick. Does anybody have any comments about any of the docuseries so far, no matter what episode you've watched? Anyone? Bueller? Good evening, Humble. The lovely Jen, hello. EW1, my dog. Greg, what's up? Keith Williams, what's up? Excuse me, Keith Wilson, apologize. You figured out my glasses on, I get it right, but you know. And you have been here first. He's been here since 6:46 p.m. That's how to Greg. Hello, Greg, in case I missed it. And Instagram, Paul and Dub. Oh, my boy Blackwell's here. Nothing. Not shocked by anything. Only thing I was shocked about Blackwell was the one thing he said when they asked him a question about sex. And he was like, yeah, right now I'm thinking about sex. Other than that, learned nothing. That's why I thought about it when I was making it. I was condensing this into 2 and 3. And then I'm going to actually condense the last one into 4, 5, and 6. Because 6 is thrown together. Because apparently that when, as they were recording, the day that he came to the ring for his last interview, the scandal broke. How unfortunate, you know? So, Humble, I don't want to say it wasn't good. I just don't think it was. See, I think a lot of people wanted a gotcha piece, and people wanted to learn stuff that they didn't know. And I think because they didn't, they're like, oh, disappointing. But I enjoy it. I won't say I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I will say that it peeled back the curtain a little bit with McMahon. So, let's talk about this episode 2, Heat. Bob Costas was talked to, as well as Phil Mushnick and Meltzer. And basically they broke down WrestleMania 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. But what's crazy is when they started off the episode, they started off with, like, I'm sorry, guys, you can say what you want to say about McMahon, but the whole stand back thing, remember this guy? Stand back. Remember that? McMahon went all out no matter what. He didn't care. People laughed at him. But he caught a lot of scrutiny for this, but it showed you the guy was a sports entertainer. And regardless of what you think of him, he put his company on the map, you know? So, you know, he started off with the stand back deal, and I guess they're trying to make fun of it in some way, but you know. So basically, they just were showing a lot of things about um how Jesse the Body Ventura. We talked about this last time. How Jesse the Body Ventura um wanted to start a union so the wrestlers could have a union, and Hogan's like, no, no, no. Hogan being the good company man that he is, told Vince, snitched out Jesse the Body. And to this day, Jesse the Body Ventura does not like Hulk Hogan, and he talks not very highly of him. So yeah. They also touched base on a lot of things like about WrestleMania 3 and how WrestleMania 3 was such a big thing, 93,000, and how people want. Now this is Meltzer said. A lot of people say this. The number is inflated by some accounts, saying it wasn't 93, it was 78,000. Whatever the case is, you pack that many people into a building, it's a success. I can honestly say I was at WrestleMania 3 and it was an enjoyable experience. Not to mention, even though I sat up high, just to be there was great. Humble, that's a great comment to make, that you want to understand the purpose of it. I don't know because I don't think we learned anything that we didn't know. They touched on the steroid scandal, and I will say this. I definitely think that McMahon caught a bad rap with the steroid scandal because these guys are using steroids way before they touched the WWE, whatever it was. If you look at all these stars that McMahon brought over, Tony Atlas, Rocky Johnson, Hogan, Ken Patera, Junkyard Dog, these guys are all big guys, big, burly, hefty guys. So, I hate that they put the stigma on this dude, Ravish Rick Rude's another one who came from somewhere else, It was another W Plus story of Vince, the story midway. Yeah, right. And that's the thing, man. The story broke as he was on his last interview. I didn't want to hit peace, but I wanted the audience to gain from the documentary. I don't think the producers knew either. I think the producers just threw it together and figured, hey, we got something about McMahon, let's do it. Because I don't know what's the point. What is the point? They also touched on Dr. D. David Schultz and Bruno Sammartino, how they personally said they shot up Hulk Hogan. Phil Mushnick was a New York Post sports guy who had it out for Vince from day one. Listen, it's okay to critique, but Phil Mushnick, I lived in New York and I used to read the Post, and he was just out to get them no matter what. Terrible stories about McMahon and the WWE and how corrupt they were. Look, I'm not saying they weren't corrupt. What I'm saying is you can't blame everything on Vince. They also touched on the Jimmy Snuka killing his girlfriend, allegedly. Jimmy Snuka was never found guilty of that charge. They say McMahon might have covered it up. We'll never know, So, I mean, the episode was basically about all the scandals and what, They talked about the Ring Boy scandal with the ring announcer. They talked about Pat Patterson and that he maybe did some things with men because he was openly gay, but he was brought back. So, Mushnick had a column called Sex Lies in the WWF. And it just seemed like Mushnick was just against pro wrestling. I'm sorry. I'm also, the Rita Chatterton thing came up, the first female official that Vince maybe assaulted her. I know I spoke to Rita Chatterton at NWA taping in Philly, and I tried to ask her if she ever come on the show and talk about it. She goes, she's still in litigation, so she can't even talk about it. I don't know if she signed an NDA. I don't know what the case is, but she couldn't even talk about it. Humble could be right. This might be a way of cutting ties with Vince. Oh, he was found. Thank you, Blackwell. He went to hey Black. If you don't jump in, I mean I don't know what you're doing. But you're always welcome, bro. You're my dude. If you want to jump in, you can. I got. hold on a second. I don't know if I can send you a. Hold on, so I have to send a different way because my something's wrong. My Facebook on my phone. So I'm gonna email it to myself and then send it to you via Messenger. Give me 1 second, guys. I apologize. I'm producing this show myself. Kira is MIA. All right, Black, I'm going to send you an invite in 1 second. Give me 1 second. Got to copy and paste this, my friend. Like I said, my apologies. Copy link. Blackwell. ABJ. Sorry, guys. Live show. I don't know. He said he could join, but if he can. Allow paste, yeah. There you go. Blackwell, I don't know if you can jump in, but I sent you an invite. I don't know if you answer or not. Oh, you can't stay long? Well, as long as you can, it's fine. Guys, Thomas, am I allowed to, what you messaged me, Thomas, am I allowed to say it to anybody? I'm waiting on Thomas's response. And good to see you, Thomas. Two-time cancer survivor. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only undisputed YouTube Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion, my man ABJ, Anthony Blackwell Jr. What's up, brother?
What's going on? I'm only, I think, right where you're up to talking to. I think I just finished episode 3 or 4.
Okay.
But I just, a little pat in the back to Tornado Tag, because we've been talking about all these stories for the past 4 or 5 years. All of them.
I know you have. And I actually watched a few of your episodes where you've been talking about all these scandals and everything. So
we did a whole Jimmy Snuka episode. We did an episode on Pat Patterson and talked about those allegations. We did the steroid trial. We talked about that. It was wild.
You should have did the documentary. You would have got more in depth, man. Maybe you would have got some more.
Well, that's the problem. A lot of people who document, so you get. I mean, you've asked for interviews, right? Like you've interviewed people who you could have asked questions that we could, you know what I mean? But when you finally get someone to agree to even talk to you, you pick and choose what you want to talk.
You have to.
And if you don't play the game the right way, you'll never get that interview again. But
you might never get another interview again after that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anybody.
So like I said, I think this whole thing was essentially going to be another let's get WWE a story in Netflix and segue into the beginning of the WWE universe, and they put a lot of money, effort, and time into this documentary. And the Vince stuff broke, and they're like, well, how can we spin this to possibly get rid of this guy once and for all? And that's what they did.
Agreed.
But the guy from the New York Post, he was essentially Dark Side of the Ring before Dark Side of the Ring. He was telling us everything that's behind the scenes there. Not because he hated wrestling, it's because he knew Vince was a scum.
But I will say this. Listen, I'll say this. Phil Mushnick never gave WWF a chance. I'm not saying everything wasn't warranted, but
you know who I think Phil he got all of his information from?
Who?
I think he got it from Meltzer. I think Meltzer was feeding Mushnick stories that he wasn't willing to tell himself.
Could be. Not to, because he was a wrestling guy and he want to lose his spot in the community.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha. And since Mushnick was a sports dude, it ain't affect him.
100%.
Not a bad point. Pretty good.
Allegedly. That's just my opinion. Yeah.
So all the scandals, and listen, Vince got through all the scandals. He got through every last one. He got away. He got the steroid trial. The Rita Chatterton thing went away. The Jimmy Snuka thing went away. You know.
Can I just sprinkle a little more possible conspiracy of how he did?
Sure.
I mean, what is the big stories going on right now when it comes to political and celebrities and really, really rich, famous people?
The whole SA, the stuff.
They're all being exposed for using their money to break the law.
Right.
Vince has been in those circles a long time. A long time. So it's one of those situations where when you're part of the boys, and the boys aren't just the wrestling locker room, the boys are entertainment industry, movie executives, politicians. Like if you look at the Vince story, he went from a dude behind the scenes with David Letterman to being a billionaire. And along that way, his wife becomes a politician, gets moved into Trump's cabinet. Like there's so much to where this family came from and went to. And Sure, there's hard work, and sure, there's creativity, and there's all of that. There's all like I'm not taking any of that away from Vince, but this industry is who you know and what and how they push you. Like if you don't get the push, you can be making amazing wrestling content, but if the machine's not behind you, it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, exactly.
Hi guys. Hi guys. Hi guys. Oh wait. Hi guys.
I just think that like he
Hi
was
guys.
embedded with a lot of people, and I think because those people were protected, he was protected. The whole steroid scandal was completely dumped in Zahorian, and he got away scot-free.
Yeah, Dr. Zaharian, he definitely caught the brunt of that.
He's still a practicing doctor in Pennsylvania too.
Not to mention this is that here's the thing. You got to give Hogan and Vince credit. They pulled the wool over the government's eyes because the government thought they had Vince dead to rights and thought Hogan was going there and, destroy him.
Well, here's the thing. You know who they didn't talk to in the steroid trials? The guys that Vince told if you don't take them, you won't have a job.
Right.
They only went to the Tony Atlases and the big dudes of the world who were all like, we've been taking them before we even met him. Was it easier after joining the WWE? 100%. But everything we did went through Zahorian. It didn't go through Vince. So Vince skated on a technicality. But there's been plenty of people that Vince was like, the only way you're going to be in my industry is if you juice up, pal.
And we know where that went.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know that? So you saw the Screwjob episode?
Yeah.
Did you know about the Screwjob with Wendy Richter and Moolah?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, I was at that match. Crazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we used to go to the Garden on a regular basis. I lived in New York, and we were at the Garden every first Monday. And it was so weird because Richter actually kept the belt. She didn't give it.
She left it in the ring.
I mean, I'm saying she snatched it away. She didn't give it. She didn't let Moolah raise it and doing the thing. But that was the first Screwjob. And people want to, it's tough when people have to realize something, man, about wrestling. Nobody really beats someone else for the title. The title is given to them per storyline, you know? And if the boss says, hey, listen, this one's going to win the belt now, it's not their belt not to give it up. You know what I mean?
100%. I totally agree.
So that being said, the Screwjob with Brett, number one, do you think it was a work?
No.
You don't? You think it was all shoot, all real?
All shoot.
So do you think they were right to screw Brett?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
So Brett screwed Brett.
Brett screwed Brett.
Okay. But you're a Sean guy. Is that a biased take? Or?
No. Do I think Brett's been through a lot? Do I think what Brett said about giving every single thing he had to the WWE? 100% true. Brett is Captain America of an employee for the WWE for a very long time. But he also took himself extremely serious, and he's a weird dude. Like, Brett's weird. Like, the whole family is weird. The only one that was somewhat normal was Owen. And you know what I mean? Like, they're a weird family. And Brett took it way too serious. Brett listened to the promises that were given to him. Vince said, you're clean cut. We're going to make you the champion. You're going to be champion forever. The Ted Turner situation happened where they were offering all this money. Vince even said, hey, do this, this, and this, and make more money. Like, I can't give you what they want, but I want you to flourish. Go there and just drop your title. And he's like, well, I don't like Sean. And he's like, I don't care if you like Sean. Do the job.
But I think that what I think we never talk about is that
Vince didn't want his title on the other company because the other company was willing to do that.
But Brett would have never done that. Brett would have never.
You don't know.
Brett would have, come on. When Medusa did that to WWE, that scared them. That's why the Screwjob happened, because they said we can't have our title showing up on WCW.
But Brett has to be a little realistic with that too. Like, there's a lot at stake here. Like, the balance beam of professional wrestling is right here, and actually it's right here, and WWE's under, and Brett, like, he has to have a little bit of wherewithal, but like he has to play ball. Like, that's just what, if you're agreeing to walk through the doors of a venue at any position, you got to play ball. Even you got to break a little bit. He was not willing to do so.
See, I really don't think that's the case. I think that he would have dropped the title somewhere other than Canada. If they had just said, look, let's, hey, Brett, can you stay another 2 weeks? We'll do a handshake deal, or we'll do a little contract for another month, whatever. Can you drop it in California? Can you drop it in the States? Can you at least make sure the legit?
He wanted to give it away the next day on Raw. That was the only thing he said he'll do, because he wasn't going to be there long enough to be for another show.
But if they had they could. I'm pretty sure they could have worked it out where he stayed another week or two, and he could have dropped it on television. I'm just saying there could have been a way, or at a house show. I don't know. I think once Triple H said if he doesn't want to do business, we'll do business for him. I think Vince like yes, let's do it. I think Vince could have.
They literally tried. They had so many conversations, and Brett. The only thing Brett said is, "I'll lose the belt to anybody. I just won't lose it to Shawn." And if I have to, I'll wrestle Shawn, but I'm not losing. And if I do win, I will hand him the title the next night on Monday Night Raw. And I think Brett would have done that, but that's not what Shawn wanted either, and that's not what Creative wanted.
Yeah, it always bugged me how Brett left. Like,
The only wrestler who says it was a work was Scott Hall. No one else is on the firm belief that was a work.
Yeah,
I think Vince knew at the end of the day what he did was not good. He wanted to save his face with the boys. He wanted to still have the trust of the boys, because what he did that night is a huge
no.
Is a huge no-no, and it's also a huge thing. There was a documentary recording a thing for Bret Hart before it happened. I promise you, freshly, it was not a work. But the whole thing is like he had to regain he knew he had to take that punch. He knew he had to let Bret go. And when it all turned around, they turned around and said, Vince, like, this is your chance to be like, Eric Bischoff is on character right now, being your nemesis, and he's successful at being the boss on camera.
Mm-hmm.
Bret just gave you the golden goose. You're the biggest scumbag in the world now. So Vince was like, put it all out there. Let it all out. It's going to make me look worse. You know what I mean? And Vince took it. The things that Vince took in that documentary, the punch, all that, 100% was Vince saying, I deserve that because what I did was against the boys. And he took his punch. But everything outside of that, Bret handed him a golden goose to turn the wrestling company around.
No, you're not wrong.
And it made it a lot easier to book without Bret, because Bret was somebody who fought booking a lot. You know why WWE took over booking? Because Shawn at that point in time was leaving. Shawn was a problem with booking where he didn't want to work with certain people. Bret just left, and Hulk Hogan just left. Is over in the other company. Booking got real easy for WWE at that point in time.
It did. It's simple.
Oh, and listen, as a Shawn guy, I am not going to sit here and defend that Shawn is a great human being. He was a drug addict. He was a problem. He was a jerk to everybody.
He says so too. He admits it.
But here's the difference, and I'm not a little spoiler alert, because what we're doing, no shameless plug, what we're doing on our show is we're doing a political style episode, and BP is going to be Team Bret and I'm going to be Team Shawn, and we're doing a bio of Bret and a bio of Shawn, and then we're going to do like a debate style episode of why you think our candidate's better than the other. But Bret was a guy who worked really hard and hard work, but his dad was always somewhat of a big deal and already had connections and ties into wrestling. Shawn was a guy who his family didn't want him to be a wrestler, but wanted it so bad and worked. And every time he worked, nobody wanted to work for him. Nobody wanted to sell for him. Nobody wanted to do anything for him. And then he got with people like Sherry and all the right people who said, this kid's good, work with him. And he had to fight more than Bret to get to the top. And then when he got to the top and the fame, fortune, and being the sexy boy got to him, and then drugs, the alcohol, Shawn started giving it back to the people that gave it to him. He's like, no, if you're going to beat me, you're going to deserve it. Like, you didn't work hard enough for this. Like, and that's kind of where his ego came in.
Good points, man. Good points.
Yeah.
You still got a little more time. You got to go.
I give you like 5 more minutes.
All right, cool. So I want to touch base on Lex Luger, because Lex Luger was brought in as the heir apparent after the whole Warrior thing didn't work out. And and I watched Lex's progression. I was actually on the Lex Express. I actually got to sit on the Lex Express. There's a picture of me. I got to find it, but you
probably sat there longer than he did.
I did. But what do you think happened with Lex? Why he never listen? His wrestling ability was terrible. And what happened that they didn't pull the trigger on Lex?
He had no charisma, and everything they asked him to do, he said no. You know why Hogan worked? Because Hogan did everything that he was told to do. Hogan will tell you himself, every single bit of Hulk Hogan was Vince McMahon. Do this, say this, do this, say this. Lex wouldn't do and listen. If he probably would have and taken direction on how to be marketable, he'd probably be just as big as anybody else. We've seen worse get pushed more.
True.
It was on Lex. Lex didn't want to do the work.
Yeah, these guys get these muscle-bound bodies and they forget you're just people. And it's great. I would never say anything against anybody that's in a wheelchair or sick or passed away. But look what these steroids did to these people, man. Look at how they suffer. Look at their lives.
I mean, a lot of Lex's problem wasn't always the steroids.
Oh, there's other drugs as well.
Yeah. Probably not.
David Rosca.
Maybe once the scandal breaks and it finally goes to court and litigation and everything that is supposed to be said, they'll probably do a part 2 and put that out there. We're not even out of the weeds yet with this Vince stuff.
Oh, no.
And here's the deal. Like, you know why I think they're pushing it and waiting? Because 5 or 6 major billionaire celebrities are all under fire. They couldn't get Hef before he passed away. Now they're going after. Then they went after Trump. Now they're going after Diddy. They're going from the top down, and all these people have worked and been friends and went to the same parties where all of this stuff has happened. They're building a case on everybody.
Yeah. Sounds like it's like Training Day when Denzel goes, "I'm putting cases on all y'all."
Everybody's getting cases. People are very worried.
People are afraid. People are very afraid.
There's more people backstage at WWE who are still really worried.
Yeah, I bet.
How Bruce Pritchard still has a job is beyond. My theory is if Bruce Pritchard is still backstage, Vince is still at hand.
You think so?
Oh, 100%. Here's a quick question. How much booking do you think really changed since Mania and he left?
Not a lot.
Not a lot at all. Every one of his stories are still fully intact. Every single Trip guy has not been pushed yet. Remember, we thought DIY was going to be this next thing. Andrade's back. That was a Triple H guy. All Triple H guys are still under that radar, and all Vince's stories are still going. And Bruce Pritchard still has a job.
True, David. The Netflix documentary is already up. This is actually
all the episodes are up.
All the episodes are up.
It's shot very well.
It's shot great. I think they did a great job. I just didn't think we learned anything new. All right, I'm gonna close this out since you're leaving too. So they talked about the screw job, Brett screwed Brett, and what really touched me too was that Vince had a chance to turn Hogan heel and never did.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think we would have seen in WWF if Hogan had been healed? Do you think it wouldn't have been the same impact? You don't think so?
Hogan's smart enough to know when something's good to stick with it. And Scott, like, say what you want about the Click, they had their pulse on where wrestling was going to go. Shawn, Triple H, Kevin Nash, Scott Hall, and Sean Waltman were all ahead of the curve on where wrestling was going to go, and everyone fought them tooth and nail. Brett hated it. The old school guys hated it. Taker hated it. Everyone hated it, but they knew where it was going. And a good sign of that is what happened in WC. That NWO was supposed to be Sting, and Hogan seen it and goes, no, brother, that's money. I want it. Actually, you know what? That this documentary really got me is remembering when the fans slid in. Dude, Scott Hall stomps that guy's skull in.
Yeah. Listen, they
you know you stomp something and you trip over their head. Like he hit him and like,
yeah,
bro, that guy. I want a documentary on what happened to that guy after, because he's messed up. Did you see the pool of blood too? They really showed they always been hiding that footage. No, Owen. With Geraldo, not Geraldo, the late night guy. Belzer.
Richard Belzer, yeah.
They didn't cut away as quick as they normally do. They showed the pool of blood under his head.
Did you hear the thud when he hit?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was crazy. They did a good job of clearing up a lot of footage from back in the 80s. It did a good job. I did say I was ended, but one last thing, and this is: do you think Brett and Sonny? Do you think it ever happened?
Yes.
Because they
both adamantly deny it, but Sonny is wild, but she knows she's smart to the business. Sonny's a gangster. Like, at the end of the day, a lot of people hate on Sonny. I don't have as much outside of wrestling. Sure, vehicular manslaughter, driving while drunk, not good. Don't do that. But people like if what happened to Sunny backstage happened to a female wrestler today, it would end the business. People defecating in buckets and dumping it on her head without her knowing it, and not just defecate, every bodily fluid in it. Like, they did a lot to her, and she knew to get by in that business, either she's going to be sexualized or she's going to control the sexual out, like that whole aspect, and she controlled it. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Is that what they call it, screw job? Anyway,
yeah. But I think she has a lot of respect and love for Brett's family and his wife and his kids, and realized that there's a lot to lose for that man over there. I think she said nothing happened.
She to this day
will say nothing happened.
Has never said, she said nothing happened between me and Brett. We just were good friends, and
yeah,
well, there you go.
A lot of it too was Sean was jealous because Sean was active with her.
Sean loved. Let me tell you, Sonny and Sean were very close for a little while, even when she was with Candido.
Well, I also have beliefs that I feel like her and Candido probably had an open relationship.
I think so too. Well, it's wrestling, so you know.
Yeah.
Blackwell, thanks for coming in. I'm gonna end the show too. So thanks for coming here. How's everything with you, bro?
I'm good. I've just been working, just did some edits. I have some wrestling shows coming up. I became a booker.
You're doing too much, bro.
I'm a booker. I book a company now.
Congrats.
Booked my first show. It's coming up that I won't be at.
Nice.
Because I'll be working at it. So I became booker of a show, and then I said, hey, next show I can't be there because I'm involved in a pretty heavy storyline over in High Tension.
Oh,
so I have to go do some stuff over there. But yeah, I'm booking wrestling shows. That's
good
crazy.
For you. Good. And look, this time last year, you're like, oh my god, and I said, bro, don't worry.
You know what it was? How many companies was I working for at one point in time?
55.
A lot of companies.
70.
Which was good because I got a lot of exposure. I got to meet a lot of people. But when everything kind of went down with me, I was so open to everybody, and I picked and chose my circle, and I made it so much smaller. And in that bubble is like you, 2 wrestling companies, Lily, my family, Ruda, and like that's it. Like, I'm cool with everybody. I love everybody. I'll hug you. But you're not getting into my circle anymore. Like, other content creators, I'm tired of being burnt by. I'm tired of like people stealing ideas, or you do like, I just close all that out and I just focus on me. And I'm just trying to make these 2 companies I work for the best they can possibly be.
You're doing a great job. I listen, we haven't talked. You're busy. I'm busy, but
What are you doing for Bad Blood?
I'm going.
Oh, are you?
Kira's going to stay here. I don't have a ticket, but somebody's working one for me. And
if you don't go, you should come to a Bad Blood party that we're having.
I'm definitely going. I just talked to one of the vlog warriors. And I'm
going to Ruda's house. I'm going to get my new TWF hardware.
Ruda invited me, and I said if I don't go to Bad Blood, I will be there. But
I love the Paul Heyman compliment, but not in full context. I'm not fully Paul Heyman. All right.
But I want you to
that'd be another documentary for another day.
I want you to do me a favor. So there's a lot of stories that I need to tell. I can't tell yet. I can't tell until my numbers are where, astronomical, where like I can't be touched. But I want to make this official on this podcast, on this show, that when there is a documentary about me, I want you to be the dude.
Okay.
Because there's so many things I have to tell about this business, not just wrestling, but content creating, and how many people that I know that are famous that are just scumbags. You wouldn't believe.
You think you're the only one, brother? I'm in after 7 years. I know where all the bodies are buried.
I encountered someone who I swore was my friend in the content creating circle, and I'm just gonna tell you this. Not if, when I'm at the point where I'm big, because I will get there, I am telling all the dirt. It's gonna be beautiful. It's so much.
Listen, there's places that I've worked and places I've gone and things that I've seen that if I said what was being said or how things go backstage, a lot of these places on the indie scene would cease to exist. And here's and I've never said this publicly, so this is the first time. And I'm not going to bury any companies, but I'm going to give you a hard truth of reality. I'm someone who stands on my morals, and I'm kind of a fraud in this aspect too, that I don't tell everything because it's not always my story to tell. It didn't affect me. I just seen it, and I chose to leave the situation because there's nothing I can do to change it. But if it's one of these situations where I don't have the funds or money to run my own wrestling company, because if I did, I promise you it would be the fucking greatest thing you've all ever seen. And not on a storyline aspect. It's just because the way people would get treated, and there would not be any nonsense going. And the places I'm at, there's no nonsense. Because if there was, I wouldn't be there. But the problem is you go to an indie show and you're like, oh man, this is really fun. And then Vince-esque style documentary stuff is happening on the independent scene. And if I turn around and expose these places and shut them down, which they probably should be shut down, my friends who are very talented have nowhere to work. They have no places to do their art and do their craft. Because at the end of the day, if we shut down an entire state just because that's all my reach is, and I'm not saying every wrestling company I work for that I'm no longer with is bad. That is not the case at all. A lot of times it's money. They're not willing to pay me my rate. I'm not working for free. I love them to death. Do your thing. I still go and support these places. So I don't want people to dig and be like, well, he worked for here. They're all probably scummy. No, I went through a divorce. I had no car. I couldn't travel. When I stopped going to wrestling shows, they moved on with other people. So every company I'm no longer with is not all bad. But there are some, you know what I mean? Or some
Right.
that I'm aware of. But it's one of those things where if I pull the curtain back and tell everyone else's stories that aren't mine, and then somebody else who it happened to goes, well, that I'm not co-signing that at all. And then I look like a liar. And then even if I don't look like a liar and this place shuts down, there goes a weekend of booking for a lot of people that I care about.
It goes to show you that all the little independent organizations are just like WWE. Everybody has their own Vince McMahon to an extent. It's crazy.
Yep.
It's crazy.
And guess where a lot of these scumbag promoters got the blueprint? This guy right here. Because they're like, if he got away from it, so can I. And it's weird because people have this a little bit of power and people fall and beg to it. It's really strange to see.
I'm glad. Listen, like I said, I'm glad WWE is on a new path. Hopefully they can, hopefully they can do good. But like, I'm gonna
keep it a buck. This is a huge like this stuff here, all the stuff I've learned and the people I've met and the people I've talked to and the people who worked in that locker room and things that I've heard that I can't say because once again it's not my story. It's a huge reason why I have a hard time supporting WWE. Like if people get mad as mad as they are at Tony Khan for not letting go Rey Fenix, which he should have, he shouldn't hold him down if he doesn't want to be there. But more people are upset about this. Watch this documentary and we'll still buy a ticket to a WWE show knowing where the blueprint was.
We're all guilty.
I'm just saying, like everyone's kind of hypocrites in that fashion.
You
agree. Can't turn around and say AEW had a fist fight in the locker room. That company's terrible. This company's just a joke. And then turn around and watch the company where people were trafficked for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it's hard. It's really hard. And this isn't just a wrestling problem. This is an entertainment problem. This is, and we're seeing that it's music, it's politics, it's movies, it's pro
everything.
Wrestling. It's the entertainment industry.
It's terrible.
Higher you go, you have to do dirty things to get to the top. Just how it works.
Guess is why I'm still at the bottom.
That's why I only have 1,200 subscribers.
Blackwell, thanks for coming on tonight.
Always, I love you, brother.
Guys, tomorrow we're gonna do attitude. There it is, boys and girls.
It's not. I took it with me to a wrestling school. I got invited to a wrestling school, and they wanted me to come help with character and development and so I took it with me. So
next show you book, if they need a charismatic elder statesman of the African American brand, let me know. The next episode we're gonna do is attitude, family business, and the finish. We're gonna finish it out. So
when are you recording that?
It's gonna be tomorrow, probably at some point.
I don't have time to watch it all. I said I joined and come hang out.
Excuse me, sir. We know you're busy, but
I'm busy man. I got things to do. I got people to see things that are things to see people to do.
Okay then. All right. Thanks for joining us, Blackwell guys. Find me Blackwell on all social medias. ABJ.
I love y'all. Thank you, Tantalizing Universe.
I love you, brother. Guys, you know the spiel. Hug your family because you're not promised tomorrow. Quiet, Blackwell. Pray because you're going to pray to make it today. And as always, for ABJ, I am one half of the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast. The producer, Kira, tapped out. As always.
I don't blame her. Real quick, I don't blame Kira at all. This is hard. This ruined me for a little bit in pro wrestling. And I told you guys this behind the scene. Like for a while there, I almost got out of the wrestling space because it got dark and I seen a lot of things and heard a lot of things that I didn't want to hear. And the first thing I told Kara is just enjoy the product for what it is. Get away from dirt sheets, get away from their personal lives, watch the characters on television, take in what they show you, and enjoy the wrestling in that aspect. The more you deep, the more disappointed you're going to become.
Facts. Blackwell's right. He's got morals. Guys, have a great night. Have a great weekend. See you guys at some point tomorrow. And this week is Bad Blood Week, so get ready. And that's it. As always, do I do best? And that's I do two things. Stay tantalizing. Not to click it off. Oh, this guy. See you guys.
Love you guys.